Jurassic Park wasn't just a blockbuster, it was a collision between analog craft and digital revolution, disguised as a monster movie. Steven Spielberg brought extinction back to life, using techniques that shouldn't have worked together. These are 18 hidden details in Jurassic Park you completely missed. Number 18. During the iconic T-Rex breakout scene, the animatronic dinosaur kept malfunctioning because of the rain pouring onto the set. The crew dumped thousands of gallons of water to create the storm, and the Rex's latex skin absorbed it like a sponge, gaining weight with every take. Between takes, the dinosaur started moving on its own, shaking and twitching in the darkness without operator input. Stan Winston's team worked frantically between takes to drain water from the mechanical creature. Spielberg loved the unintended movement so much he kept some of the autonomous shuddering in the final cut. Ariana Richards and Joseph Mazzello's terrified reactions became more authentic as the malfunctioning Rex moved unpredictably. Cinematographer Dean Cundy captured the creature's genuine struggle on film. Number 17. The velociraptors stalking through Jurassic Park are scientifically inaccurate by design. Real velociraptors stood roughly 3 feet tall, about the size of a turkey. Spielberg based his version on Deinonychus, a larger cousin discovered by paleontologist John Ostrom, but kept the name Velociraptor because it sounded more dangerous. Michael Crichton had made the same choice in his original novel. Paleontologists objected during pre-production, but Spielberg prioritized terror over taxonomic precision. Then something strange happened. Shortly after filming Wrapped, scientists discovered Utahraptor, a newly identified species matching the film's exaggerated size almost exactly. Suddenly, the movie looked accidentally prophetic instead of wildly inaccurate. The result became pop culture's definitive image of what raptors should be, regardless of what they actually were. Number 16. Graphic designer Chip Kidd created the now legendary red and black T-Rex skeleton logo that became one of cinema's most recognizable symbols. Working with art director John Alvin, Kidd delivered multiple concepts to Universal Studios, but executives originally wanted something softer, more family-friendly, more marketable to children. Studio heads pushed for pastel colors, rounded edges, cartoon aesthetics that wouldn't frighten younger audiences. Kidd designed the sharp, primal, aggressive version anyway, and submitted it alongside safer alternatives. Spielberg saw Kidd's design during a production meeting and overruled the studio instantly, recognizing that the logo needed to convey danger, not comfort. That logo became shorthand for the entire franchise, appearing on everything from lunchboxes to theme park gates at Universal Studios, all because Spielberg trusted aggression over accessibility. Number 15. The rippling water cup warning everyone the T-Rex is approaching became one of cinema's most imitated visual cues, but the effect was a complete accident born from desperation. Spielberg's crew couldn't figure out how to make the water vibrate on command with enough consistency for multiple takes. Cinematographer Dean Cundy and his team tried subwoofers, shakers, and motorized platforms, but nothing created the precise rhythmic ripples the scene required. Then someone plucked a guitar string attached underneath the dashboard, and the vibrations traveled perfectly through the plastic cup. Special effects supervisor Michael Lantieri witnessed the breakthrough and immediately approved the technique. Spielberg loved the simplicity and kept the technique for the final film. A low-tech solution created one of the movie's most iconic moments. Number 14. When Ian Malcolm says,
Breed? No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
the phrasing and delivery weren't in Michael Crichton's original script. The written line was more clinical, less poetic, buried in technical dialogue about genetic engineering and biological determinism. Jeff Goldblum ad-libbed the simplified version during rehearsals with co-star Laura Dern, adding his characteristic pause and laid-back certainty to the rhythm. Spielberg recognized instantly that the improvised line captured the film's entire philosophical argument in 4 words. He made sure it appeared twice in the film, once as warning and once as observation. The line became the franchise's unofficial tagline, quoted endlessly, printed on merchandise, referenced across decades of sequels. Screenwriter David Koepp later praised Goldblum's instinct for distilling complex ideas, all because Goldblum decided to mumble instead of lecture. Number 13, the breathing, blinking, suffering Triceratops wasn't computer-generated imagery. It was a massive animatronic puppet built by Stan Winston's team, requiring multiple puppeteers hiding inside and around the creature to make it feel genuinely alive. The Triceratops measured over 12 feet long and weighed more than a ton. Operators controlled breathing, eye movement, and subtle muscle twitches from positions concealed beneath the set designed by Rick Carter. Actress Ariana Richards said the realism was so complete she kept forgetting it wasn't a real animal, instinctively treating it like something that could react to her presence. Even Spielberg admitted he got emotional watching it breathe, recognizing that practical effects carried a weight CGI couldn't yet replicate. The scene worked because the actors weren't pretending but genuinely interacting with something nothing occupying physical space. Number 12. The filmmakers gave the Dilophosaurus a retractable neck frill and venom-spitting ability purely for dramatic effect. There's zero fossil evidence supporting either trait. Paleontologists have no reason to believe these dinosaurs possess defensive frills or toxic saliva. Spielberg simply thought it made the creature scarier and more visually interesting than a standard predator. Phil Tippett, the dinosaur supervisor, helped design the creature's unique characteristics. The frill added surprise, while the venom added danger. The combination created a monster distinct from the other dinosaurs populating the park. Paleontologist Jack Horner, who served as the film's technical advisor, has spent decades correcting people who assume the movie version reflects scientific reality, but accuracy wasn't the goal. Spielberg needed a kill scene that felt different from the T-Rex or raptors. Number 11. Most of the T-Rex attack sequence was accomplished with a life-size animatronic dinosaur that weighed 12,000 pounds and required multiple operators from Stan Winston's studio to control. Only about 6 minutes of dinosaur footage in the entire film used computer-generated imagery created by Dennis Murin and his team at Industrial Light and Magic. The rest was puppets, costumes, and practical effects built by Winston's crew and shot in real environments. ILM handled digital dinosaurs only for wide shots and complex movements impossible to achieve mechanically. This hybrid approach is why the movie still looks incredible 3 decades later. Real objects filmed in real spaces age better than early digital effects because they obey physics automatically. The T-Rex wasn't rendered, it was built, and that physicality grounds every frame in tangible reality. Number 10. Arnold's gruesome death was filmed in graphic detail but deleted during editing for pacing reasons. The sequence showed a raptor attacking Samuel L. Jackson's character in the maintenance shed, tearing him apart while he struggled to restore power. Spielberg ultimately decided the scene slowed momentum and removed visual focus from the children's parallel escape coordinated by editor Michael Kahn. You never see Arnold get killed on screen, but that distant scream echoing through the compound when the power fails, that's Jackson's audio recording from the deleted scene, preserved and repositioned by sound designer Gary Rydstrom. Spielberg kept the sound to remind audiences that people were dying off screen, that the stakes remained lethal even when the camera looked elsewhere. The absence became more disturbing than the presence could have been. Number 9. Those terrifying velociraptors stalking Lex and Tim through the industrial kitchen were performed by men in detailed raptor suits moving on their hind legs. John Rosengrant and Mark Crash McCreary wore the costumes and moved with predatory precision, tapping claws on tile and breathing audibly to create tension. Industrial Light and Magic added CGI only for wide shots and complex movements the suits couldn't achieve. The close-ups of claws, heads turning, eyes tracking movement were all practical puppetry created by Stan Winston's team. This combination of suit performance and selective digital enhancement created raptors that felt physically present in the space, with actors Joseph Mazzello and Ariana Richards. The result remains more convincing than many fully digital creatures created decades later. Number 8. When the T-Rex smashes through the plexiglass roof of the Ford Explorer, that wasn't supposed to happen. The animatronic malfunctioned and came down harder than planned, cracking the protective barrier between dinosaur and children with far more force than rehearsed. Ariana Richards' piercing scream is completely authentic. She genuinely believed she was about to be crushed by 12,000 pounds of malfunctioning machinery built by Stan Winston's crew. Joseph Mazzello's terror was equally real as he struggled to protect his screen sister. Spielberg recognized the genuine fear immediately and kept the take in the final cut assembled by editor Michael Kahn. The moment works because the danger was partially real and the kids weren't acting. Number 7. During certain close-up shots requiring specific facial expressions, Steven Spielberg personally controlled the Raptor animatronics instead of relying on Stan Winston's trained puppeteers. He wanted exact looks, precise head tilts, particular eye movements he couldn't adequately communicate through verbal direction to the operators. So he grabbed the controls and performed the creature himself, dictating emotion through mechanical manipulation. Winston's team built the animatronics to be intuitive enough that Spielberg could operate them without extensive technical training. The Raptor examining the door handle, the one tilting its head while listening were those moments carrying Spielberg's directing instincts translated directly through puppet controls. Cinematographer Dean Cundy captured these performances with careful framing. The Predator's intelligence came from the filmmaker's hands, not just the script. The director literally became the monster he was filming. Number 6. Sound designer Gary Rydstrom created the T-Rex roar by blending animal sounds in completely unexpected combinations at Skywalker Sound. He layered a baby elephant's high-pitched squeal with a tiger's guttural snarl, an alligator's deep growl, and even a dog playing aggressively with a rope toy. None of these sounds existed together in nature, but the combination created something that felt utterly real and biologically plausible. The roar needed to convey size, rage, and predatory power simultaneously. Individual animal recordings couldn't achieve all three qualities, but blended together, manipulated, and processed by Rydstrom's team, they created a sound that never existed but somehow feels ancient and terrifying. Sound editor Richard Hims helped refine the final mix. That roar became as iconic as the dinosaur itself, instantly recognizable, endlessly imitated across all media. Number 5. In Michael Crichton's novel, Nedry's death is prolonged, graphic, and horrifyingly detailed. The Dilophosaurus toys with him extensively before killing him, blinding him with venom, disemboweling him slowly while he stumbles through the jungle in agony. Spielberg scaled the violence back significantly to maintain the PG-13 rating and avoid traumatizing younger audiences. Even the film's version with actor Wayne Knight remains deeply disturbing. Watching the Dilophosaurus observe him curiously before attacking, the venom hitting his eyes, the creature tilting its head before lunging, the scene retains menace without explicit gore designed by Stan Winston's effects team. The novel version would have been unwatchable for general audiences. Spielberg found the line between horror and spectacle, delivering a death that's memorable without being gratuitous under guidance from editor Michael Kahn. Number 4. Industrial Light and Magic animators studied extensive footage of ostriches and emus running at full speed to create the Gallimimus herd sequence under supervision from Phil Tippett. They wanted the dinosaurs to move like modern flightless birds because evolutionary science suggests that's the closest living approximation to how these creatures actually moved. Dennis Muren's team at ILM rendered the digital herd using cutting-edge silicon graphics workstations that were state-of-the-art in 1992. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and the kids react to empty fields that would later contain the stampeding creatures. The result is one of the most believable dinosaur movements ever captured on screen. Composer John Williams scored the sequence to emphasize both wonder and impending danger. Number 3. When Ellie Sattler is running from raptors and desperately trying to restore power, that's actually Laura Dern performing the sprinting, stumbling, and screaming without a stunt double. She insisted on doing the physical performance herself to maintain emotional authenticity and keep the terror genuine throughout the sequence filmed on stage 16 at Universal Studios. Spielberg was nervous throughout filming, worried she might injure herself during the chaotic sequence, but Dern nailed the performance in just a few takes, delivering exactly the combination of competence and panic the scene required. She was genuinely exhausted, genuinely running, genuinely reacting to puppeteers and crew members creating chaos around her. Her commitment sells the entire sequence as real survival instead of choreographed action. Number 2. That giant sneeze covering Lex and Tim in dinosaur snot wasn't created with artificial slime or commercial effects products. The special effects team, led by Michael Lantieri, used a mixture of water and actual human mucus to achieve the right texture and viscosity needed for the shot. They experimented with various substances including gelatin, methylcellulose, and commercial lubricants, but nothing looked quite as authentically gross and realistic as real biological material. Someone on Stan Winston's production crew literally donated their nasal discharge for the shot involving actors Ariana Richards and Joseph Mazzello. The actors' disgusted reactions are partially genuine because they knew exactly what was hitting them during filming. Cinematographer Dean Cundy captured the moment in one memorable take that made audiences squirm worldwide. Number 1. While editing Jurassic Park's final scenes, Steven Spielberg was simultaneously shooting Schindler's List in Krakow, Poland. He'd spend 12-hour days filming one of cinema's most devastating Holocaust dramas with Liam Neeson and Ben Kingsley, then stay up late into the night reviewing dinosaur footage transmitted via satellite from Industrial Light and Magic in California. Two of his most significant films produced at exactly the same time, requiring completely opposite emotional and creative mindsets. One film about humanity's capacity for unimaginable evil, the other about bringing long-dead giants back to life through technological wonder. Spielberg essentially lived in two different movies simultaneously, directing resurrection and documenting genocide within the same 24-hour periods. The range required is almost inconceivable, and both films became masterpieces defining their genres. 3 decades later, Jurassic Park remains a masterclass in knowing when to use technology and when to trust craft. These hidden details prove the film's greatness wasn't accidental. It was built on guitar strings and baby elephants, donated mucus and malfunctioning animatronics, a director working 2 films at once, and actors genuinely terrified by machinery that refused to behave. Which hidden detail surprised you most, and what classic film should we excavate next?